You're standing in the kitchen, your dog is sitting right at your feet, those eyes locked on you like you are the most important person in the entire universe. You smile, grab what you think is a wholesome little treat, something natural, something you've probably seen recommended in a blog or a Facebook group, and you toss it over. They catch it midair. You feel like the best pet parent in the world. But here's what I need to tell you, and I really wish someone had told me this earlier in my career. Some of the snacks that pet owners believe are the healthiest choices they can make for their dogs are quietly doing damage on the inside that you will not see coming until it's already gone too far. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 of the most common ones, why they are so much more dangerous than they look, and exactly what to replace them with so you never have to second guess yourself in that kitchen moment again. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Naomi, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. I want to start by saying something important before we dive in, because I know some of you are going to recognize yourselves in this video, and I don't want you to feel guilty for even a single second. Everything I'm about to share comes from a place of love, not judgment. Every single one of my clients who fed their dog something on today's list did it because they genuinely believed they were doing the right thing. That's what makes this so hard. These aren't the obvious villains. These aren't chocolate bars or obvious junk food. These are things that sound healthy, things that get shared in pet owner groups with hundreds of thousands of likes, things that look harmless sitting on your kitchen counter. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous, and exactly why we need to talk about them today. Let's start with one that genuinely surprises almost every single person I tell it to. Grapes and raisins. Now I know what you're thinking. Fruit is natural, fruit is healthy, humans eat grapes every day. And you are absolutely right for humans. But for dogs, grapes and raisins are in an entirely different category, and it is a terrifying one. I had a young couple bring in their 2-year-old Labrador mix, a big, goofy boy named Mango, who had gotten into a bag of trail mix that had been left on the coffee table. They called Poison Control first, who directed them straight to me. By the time they arrived, Mango was already vomiting repeatedly and seemed unusually tired for a dog who normally had the energy of 3 dogs combined. We ran blood work immediately, and his kidney values were already beginning to climb. We spent the next 3 days on aggressive IV fluids trying to protect those kidneys. Here's what makes this so frightening from a scientific standpoint. We still do not fully understand exactly which compound inside grapes and raisins causes the toxicity in dogs. We know it happens. We know it can trigger acute kidney failure, but we cannot yet pinpoint the exact molecule responsible, which means we also cannot identify a safe threshold. Some dogs eat a single grape and go into kidney failure. Other dogs eat a handful and seem fine, at least initially. That unpredictability is exactly what makes grapes and raisins so much more dangerous than something like chocolate, where we can at least calculate a toxic dose by body weight. With grapes, there is no safe number. There is no just one is okay. The only safe number is 0, and that includes raisins hidden inside oatmeal cookies, trail mix, cereal, fruitcakes, and granola bars, all things that regularly end up within reach of our dogs without owners realizing the danger inside them. If your dog eats even a single grape or raisin, do not wait to see if symptoms appear. Call your vet or an emergency animal poison hotline immediately, because the window for effective treatment is narrow and waiting costs precious time. The replacement is simple: blueberries, watermelon with the seeds and rind removed, or thin slices of apple without the core or seeds are all genuinely dog-safe fruit options that give you that same feeling of sharing something fresh and natural without any of the risk. The second snack on our list is one that I genuinely struggle to talk about because I know how beloved it is in the dog owner community, and because the danger hiding inside it is completely invisible to the naked eye. Peanut butter. Before you close the video, stay with me, because this is not a peanut butter is always toxic situation. The problem is specific, and it is serious enough that every dog owner needs to understand it. The culprit is an artificial sweetener called xylitol, also sometimes listed on ingredient labels as birch sugar or birch extract. Xylitol is being added to more and more peanut butter brands as a sugar substitute to make the product seem healthier for health-conscious human consumers. The problem is that what is harmless for a human is catastrophic for a dog. When a dog ingests xylitol, their pancreas mistakes it for real sugar and releases a massive surge of insulin, far more than the body actually needs. This causes blood sugar to plummet to dangerously low levels in a matter of minutes to hours, a condition called hypoglycemia. In higher doses, xylitol also causes direct, severe liver damage that can progress to liver failure within days. I had a small terrier named Biscuit come into my clinic after his owner had been using a new brand of natural peanut butter as a pill pocket to hide medication. She had no idea. She was doing everything right, she thought. Biscuit started trembling and seemed disoriented about 40 minutes after his dose. By the time she reached me, his blood sugar had dropped dangerously low. We stabilized him over the course of that afternoon, and thankfully Biscuit made a full recovery, but it was an incredibly close call over something that came in a jar that said natural on the label. The correct way to handle this is simple but non-negotiable. Every single time you buy peanut butter, whether it's a new brand or one you've used for years, because manufacturers change their formulas without making it obvious, you must read the full ingredient list before giving it to your dog. Scan for xylitol, birch sugar, and birch extract. If you see any of those words, that jar never goes near your dog, full stop. If you want a genuinely safe alternative, look for single-ingredient peanut butter that lists only dry roasted peanuts and nothing else, or consider swapping to a thin layer of plain, unsweetened pumpkin puree, which most dogs adore and is completely safe. The third snack is one that has been recommended so widely for so long that questioning it almost feels wrong: carrots. Now, before I explain, let me be very clear. A small piece of raw carrot, given occasionally as a treat, is not going to send your dog to the emergency room. But the way carrots have been marketed in the pet community as a guilt-free, unlimited, always healthy snack you can give freely anytime your dog begs, that narrative has some real problems attached to it that we need to address honestly. The first issue is sugar content. Carrots are significantly higher in natural sugar than most owners realize. A medium carrot contains roughly 5 grams of sugar. For a small dog who is already eating a complete, balanced diet, adding multiple carrots throughout the day as snacks adds up to a meaningful sugar load that over time can affect weight, blood sugar stability, and in dogs already predisposed to diabetes, can become a genuine contributing factor. I had a miniature schnauzer named Pepper, whose owner was incredibly dedicated to her health. No processed treats, no commercial snacks, just carrots, because she had read everywhere that carrots were the perfect healthy dog snack. Pepper came in for a wellness visit, and her weight had climbed steadily over 8 months despite no change in her regular meals. We went through her diet together, and the carrot intake was the only change. She was getting 5 to 6 large carrots per day because her owner figured there was no such thing as too many vegetables. The second issue is a choking and obstruction risk that almost never gets mentioned. Large chunks of raw carrot, especially given to small dogs or dogs who tend to gulp their food without chewing properly, can become lodged in the throat or digestive tract. I have seen it happen, and it is a genuinely frightening emergency. The correct way to feed carrots is to think of them as an occasional treat, not a staple. Keep portions small, especially for smaller dogs, and either cut them into thin coins or lightly steam them to soften the texture before giving them. Frozen baby carrots in small quantities are also a lovely occasional option, especially for puppies who are teething. Just not handfuls, not multiple times a day, and never large whole carrots given unsupervised to a small or fast-eating dog. The fourth snack is one that has had a major moment in health culture recently, and naturally that has crossed over into the pet world in a big way: avocado. And I completely understand the logic here. Avocados are celebrated as a superfood for humans, packed with healthy fats, loaded with nutrients, and so it makes perfect sense that owners would assume sharing a little piece with their dog is a kind and nutritious gesture. But avocados contain a compound called persin, a fungicidal toxin that exists in the flesh, the skin, the pit, and even the leaves of the avocado plant. While humans are naturally resistant to persin, dogs are significantly more sensitive to it. Persin causes fluid accumulation in the lungs and chest cavity in dogs, which leads to breathing difficulty and, in severe cases, oxygen deprivation. It can also cause vomiting, diarrhea, and fluid buildup around the heart. I once treated a mixed-breed dog named Cleo who had gotten into a bowl of homemade guacamole that had been left on a low table during a family gathering. By the time her family noticed she had eaten it, she was already coughing, seemed restless, and was reluctant to lie down, all classic signs of respiratory discomfort. We had to monitor her closely for fluid changes in her chest for the next 24 hours. She recovered fully, but the experience shook her family significantly because they had genuinely believed avocado was healthy for her. The correct approach here is a clean and simple boundary. Avocado in any form stays out of reach of your dog, always. This includes guacamole, avocado toast scraps left on a plate, and any commercial dog treat that lists avocado as a flavoring ingredient. Instead, if you want to give your dog a healthy fat source, a small drizzle of wild-caught salmon oil over their regular meal gives them genuine omega-3 benefits with zero toxicity risk. The fifth snack on our list surprises people because nuts in general feel like a protein-rich, natural choice. Macadamia nuts specifically, but also many other varieties, are genuinely dangerous for dogs in ways that are still not completely understood by veterinary science. Macadamia nuts cause a syndrome that is almost unique to dogs, involving weakness in the hind legs, vomiting, tremors, fever, and depression, all developing within 12 hours of ingestion. What makes macadamia toxicity particularly tricky is that the dose required to cause symptoms is quite low, as few as 2 to 3 nuts can affect a small dog. And because nuts frequently appear in mixed snack bowls, trail mixes, baked goods, and nut butter blends, exposure is far more common than most owners realize. Beyond macadamias, other nuts carry their own risks. Walnuts, particularly older or moldy walnuts, can contain tremorgenic mycotoxins, which are compounds produced by mold that cause severe neurological symptoms, including seizures. Pecans carry similar risks. Even almonds, while not acutely toxic in the way macadamias are very difficult for dogs to digest properly and frequently cause gastrointestinal upset, pancreatitis triggers, and in large pieces, obstruction risk. I had a golden retriever named Archie, whose owner had been giving him a small handful of mixed nuts as a daily protein snack for months, believing it was a healthy addition to his diet. Archie came in with recurrent bouts of vomiting and loose stools that we traced back directly to the nut habit. The correct boundary here is straightforward. Nuts as a category should simply be off the snack list for dogs. The risks across the nut family, whether toxicity, mold exposure, fat-triggered pancreatitis, or obstruction, are too varied and too serious to manage on a case-by-case basis. The sixth and final snack is one that feels so innocent, so genuinely wholesome, that it gets recommended constantly by well-meaning owners in online groups and even occasionally by outdated advice from years ago: plain yogurt. Now, I want to be precise here, because this is more nuanced than the others. Small amounts of plain, unsweetened, full-fat yogurt given occasionally to a dog that tolerates dairy reasonably well are unlikely to cause serious harm. The problem is that yogurt gets recommended as a daily probiotic supplement without any of the important context that makes that recommendation actually safe. The first issue is lactose intolerance. A large proportion of adult dogs have reduced levels of lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose, the natural sugar found in dairy. When lactose isn't properly digested, it ferments in the gut, causing gas, bloating, loose stools, and abdominal discomfort. Many owners don't connect their dog's recurring digestive issues to the daily yogurt they've been adding to the bowl for months, because the symptoms can be subtle and gradual rather than dramatic and immediate. I had a border collie named Luna, whose owner had been giving her a large spoonful of yogurt every single morning as a gut health routine. Luna had soft stools almost constantly, seemed gassy and uncomfortable after meals, and had lost a little weight. When we removed the yogurt and replaced it with a proper canine-specific probiotic, Luna's digestion improved within 2 weeks. The second and far more serious issue is flavored and sweetened yogurts. Vanilla yogurt, fruit-on-the-bottom yogurt, honey yogurt, and especially low-fat or light yogurt varieties frequently contain xylitol or other artificial sweeteners, the same toxic compound I mentioned with peanut butter, hiding in plain sight inside something that sounds genuinely healthy and natural. The correct approach, if you want genuine probiotic support for your dog, is to invest in a species-specific canine probiotic supplement in powder or capsule form, dosed appropriately for your dog's weight. These are specifically formulated with the bacterial strains that actually colonize and benefit the canine gut, unlike the strains in human yogurt, which pass through largely without colonizing. If you do choose to give plain yogurt as an occasional treat rather than a daily supplement, Always choose full-fat, plain, unsweetened varieties. Read the ingredient label every time. Check specifically for xylitol and birch sugar, and keep portions small. A teaspoon for small dogs, a tablespoon for larger ones, and not every day. Now, I want to bring this all together for you because I know that after a video like this, it can feel like there's nothing left you can safely give your dog, and I promise you that is not the case at all. The snack list that is genuinely safe and genuinely nourishing is actually a wonderful one. Blueberries mashed or given whole for medium and large dogs are antioxidant rich and beloved by most dogs. Thin apple slices with the core and seeds removed are crunchy and naturally sweet without any toxicity risk. Small pieces of cooked plain chicken or turkey with no seasoning whatsoever are an excellent high-protein treat. Watermelon cubes with seeds and rind removed are incredibly refreshing, especially in warmer months. Cooked plain green beans are low-calorie and high-fiber and work wonderfully as a weight management treat. And a small drizzle of pure wild caught salmon oil over a meal gives your dog genuine omega-3 benefits that support their coat, their joints, and their brain. Here's the single habit I want to leave you with today. Before you give your dog anything from your kitchen, anything at all, take 10 seconds to check it. Not because you are a bad pet parent if you don't, but because the information is so easy to access now, and the difference between a safe snack and an emergency vet visit can literally come down to one ingredient buried at the bottom of a label. You already care deeply about your dog. That's why you're here. That's why you watched this entire video. That caring instinct you have is exactly the right starting point. Now we're just adding a little bit of knowledge on top of it. Tell me in the comments which of these 6 surprised you the most because I genuinely want to know. And if there's someone in your life, a friend, a family member, a fellow dog parent who gives their dog grapes or peanut butter without checking the label, please share this video with them. That share could genuinely be the thing that keeps their dog safe. If this gave you something useful today, hit the like button. It helps this information reach the pet parents who need it most. And subscribe so you're here for the next one. Give your dog a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Naomi. Stay safe, always trust your instincts, and I will see you all in the very next video.